In the heart of London's elite Belgravia district, behind the wrought iron gates of Blackthorn Manor, lay a world of opulence and intrigue. The manor, with its velvet drapes and mahogany-paneled walls, was a sanctuary for the wealthy and powerful. But for Eleanor Blackthorn, the lady of the house, it was a gilded prison, a place where shadows whispered secrets, and love was a dangerous game played in the dark. Eleanor Blackthorn was the epitome of grace and sophistication. With her auburn hair and piercing green eyes, she was the envy of London's high society. Her husband, Charles, was a prominent financier, a man who had built his fortune on the art of the deal. Together, they were the golden couple of Belgravia, their lives a whirlwind of charity galas, opera nights, and exclusive soirees. But beneath the surface of their perfect life, cracks were beginning to show. Charles was rarely home, his days consumed by business meetings and international trips. When he was home, he was distant, his mind always elsewhere. Eleanor tried to fill the void with her own pursuits, but the emptiness in her heart only grew. One evening, as she wandered the halls of Blackthorn Manor, she found herself drawn to the library, a room filled with leather-bound books and the scent of aged paper. But as she stepped inside, she noticed something unusual. A letter lay on the desk, its wax seal broken. Eleanor picked it up, her heart skipping a beat. It was addressed to Charles, but the handwriting was unfamiliar. A flicker of doubt crept into her mind, a tiny crack in the foundation of her perfect life. Days turned into weeks, and Eleanor's suspicions grew. She began to notice small things: a missed call on Charles's phone, a receipt for a hotel room in Geneva, a lingering scent of perfume on his collar. One night, as they sat at the dinner table, she decided to confront him. "Charles," she said, her voice steady but cold, "is there something you're not telling me?" He looked up from his plate, his expression unreadable. "What are you talking about?" "I found this letter in the library," she said, holding it up. "Who is it from?" Charles's face darkened. "It's nothing," he said. "Just business correspondence." But Eleanor wasn't convinced. The way he had spoken, the urgency in his voice. It didn't sound like business. That night, as she lay in bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The library, once her sanctuary, now felt like a place of secrets, a beautiful shadowed prison where the truth was just out of reach. Eleanor's suspicions led her to hire a private investigator. She needed answers, no matter the cost. A week later, the investigator delivered his report. Eleanor sat in her study, her hands trembling as she opened the envelope. The photos inside made her blood run cold. There was Charles, standing outside a luxury hotel in Geneva, and there, beside him, was a woman, a beautiful younger woman with long blonde hair and a radiant smile. Eleanor's heart shattered as she read the investigator's notes. The woman's name was Isabel, and she was Charles's mistress. They had been seeing each other for over a year, and Charles had even bought her an apartment in the city. The library, once a symbol of their love, now felt like a cruel joke. A beautiful, shadowed prison where Eleanor was trapped, while Charles lived a double life. Eleanor waited until Charles returned home from his latest trip. She sat in the library, the photos spread out on the desk, her heart pounding in her chest. When Charles walked in, he froze at the sight of the photos. "Eleanor," he said, his voice trembling, "I can explain." "Don't," she interrupted, her eyes blazing with anger. "Just tell me the truth." For a moment, there was silence. Then, Charles sighed and sat down, his shoulders slumped in defeat. "Isabel is someone I met at a conference. It started as a friendship, but it turned into something more. I never meant to hurt you." Eleanor felt like the ground had been ripped out from under her. The library, once her sanctuary, now felt like a prison, a beautiful shadowed prison where her heartbreak was on display for the world to see. Eleanor stood at the edge of the library, the velvet drapes casting long shadows across the room. The moonlight streamed through the windows, casting a soft glow over the polished floor. She felt numb, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. Charles had begged for forgiveness, had promised to end things with Isabel, but Eleanor wasn't sure if she could trust him again. The library, once a symbol of their love, now felt like a barrier, a reminder of how easily secrets could hide in plain sight. As the stars twinkled above, Eleanor made a decision. She would stay, for now. But the cracks in their marriage were too deep to ignore, and she knew that one day the shadows would shatter completely. And when they did, she would be ready. Love, like velvet, is both soft and suffocating. It can envelop you in warmth, but it can also trap you in its shadows. Eleanor and Charles's story is a reminder that even the most luxurious homes can hide the deepest secrets. What would you do if your love was a velvet shadow? Would you stay, or would you walk away? This is the Velvet Shadows. But the ending is still unwritten.
Like, follow, subscribe. Check out our channel for more stories.